We're looking at lesson 2 of 11.5. Make sure we do this. I want to point out first that there is a typo for number 1. So let's fix that first. This should say 0.4. This should say 0.6. So fix that first, please. All right. A survey was given to students in the cafeteria. Should a new sandwich or a new pizza be added to the lunch bag? 80 students, only freshmen and sophomores, responded. Here is the data collection. Okay, so how many students total participated? It says it right in here. 80.
Oh, 80.
1 is the percentage. Okay?
Oh, it's not one of those, the box messes we did.
Right.
Yes, okay.
All right. So if 50% were freshmen and 50% were sophomores, how many numbers? What numbers do those look like?
40 and 40.
40 and 40. Okay. All right. Now, 10% of freshmen liked the new sandwich. So how many people is that? What's 10% of 80?
8.
I thought it's 10% of freshmen.
No, it's 10% of the total. Okay. So I just did 0.1 times 80. Gives me 8. Now I'm going to go 0.3 times 80. That's going to give me 24. And 8 plus 24 gives me 32. So what's 0.4 times 80? Good. So it worked out. All right.
So for decimals, you times it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's
Okay, yeah, I get it.
40% of 80? 32. What's 20% of 80? Try again.
So you just put like 0.2
Times 80. 16. And 32 and 16 gives me a total of? There you go. And is 48 60% of 80? Go 48 over 80. Or 48 divided by 80.1. 0.0. Yeah. Okay. How many students answered the survey? How many freshmen answered the survey? How many sophomores? How many students preferred pizza? Good. How many preferred sandwich? Did freshmen prefer the sandwich or the pizza? Mm-hmm. Did sophomores prefer the sandwich or the pizza? Sandwich. Sure. Okay. Now, we're going to do the next one. A local company is trying to decide if graduating from high school makes a difference and whether customers prefer choice A or B in their store. They asked 200 customers. Complete the table below. Okay, so 200 out of 200 is going to be a fraction of 1. Okay? Now we've got to figure out the rest of this. Because you know how 100% we say 1? So see how these totals have to add up to 1, the percentages?
Okay.
So that's the same kind of thing.
Oh, I see.
100, we always have to get 100%, right? If 200 people were surveyed, we have to get 100%.
Why is that 200?
Okay, so they asked 200 customers. So if a total of 200 customers were surveyed, 100% of the 200 were surveyed.
What percent of 200 is 200? It's 100%. It's represented as 1.
Okay. So what's, if I have 5 things, Lexi? If I have 5 things, how do I get 100% of it? I have all 5, right? So if I have all 200 surveys in my hand, I have 100% of the surveys.
Oh, so just for any of them, if there's a number there, you just put it over?
Yeah. Okay. What is 56% of 200? So I pull up
Oh, that's 44.
112.
Oh,
I
I'm
did
talking about the
200
decimal.
times 0.56.
I'm talking about the decimal.
So this decimal does have to be 0.44. Why? Because they have to add together to give me 1.
So you times 200 by 0.56.
Yeah. So there are 2 different ways to find this missing number right here. Yes.
What if that missing number was
This can't be 88. This always has to be 1 because we have to do 100%. If this was 88, it is 88.
Yeah.
So we could do 0.44 times 200, or we could do 200 minus 112. Okay. So if this is 16 and we have 8%, we know this total has to be 56%, right?
Yes.
So what percent has to go here? How would I figure that out? The total's 56.
You added
Choice A is 8, so this has to be 0.48,
48.
right? Because 0.48 plus 0.8 is 56.
Wait, are you trying to get them all to add up to one?
No. I'm trying to get this plus this added up to 56. Okay? So let's try another one. This is 12. This is 44. So how much does this one have to be? What plus 12 gives me 44?
Oh, that's 0.32.
Okay. If this is 16, because it's 0.8% of
96.
0.48 would be 96. So far, so good?
So you're still timing that? Are you still timing
Mhm.
doing that?
Or I did 112 minus 16, either way. Okay. If this is 0.08 and this is 0.032, what goes here in this box in the bottom?
Oh,
0.4 is 0.40. If this is 0.48 and this is 0.12, this would have to be. Does 0.4 plus 0.6 give us 1? Okay. All right. So 0.32 times 200 is how much? What's 16 plus 64? Good. What's 0.12 times 200? And what's 96 plus 24? Yeah. So we have it all filled out. Does 80 plus 120 give me 200? Okay. How many customers who graduated preferred choice B?
Wow.
Graduated.
Oh, good. Oh,
Did customers who did not graduate prefer choice A or choice B? Overall, which choice did customers prefer?
Choice B.
Okay, turn it over. Okay, a high school offered a prep course to students who needed to retest for their SAT. Of the 25 students who took the prep course, 80% scored at least 50 points higher on the retest than on the original exam. Overall, 100 students took the retest, and 50% of the retesters scored at least 50 points higher on the retest than on the original exam. Okay, so we've got to fill this out. How many people were surveyed total?
100.
So far, so good? Okay. Of the 25 students who took the prep course, so I'm going to say took the class, what am I going to put under the total? How many students? Of the 25 students who took the prep course, 80% scored at least 50 points or higher. So, what do I put here?
80.8.
20.
What?
Right? Because I did 100 times 0.8 to put a number here. Because you did figure out the percentage, which is great, but this is asking for the total number. So if this is 20, that means right here has to go 5. Okay. So if 25 took the class, how many did not? 75, right? Okay. Overall, 100 students retested, and 50% of the retesters scored at least 50 points higher. So we're going scored higher. What goes right here under totals?
50 times 100, or 0.5
50,
times 100,
right? Which is 50. So if this is 50, what has to go right here to make 100? Right here, underscored lower. Okay. 20 plus what gives me 50?
Where'd you get 50 from?
Because Because it says 50%, so 0.5 of 100 is 50.
Could you split that
Half
up
of
for
it's
the
from higher.
It has to be 20 and 30.
No, 25.
No, that has to be it, right? Because there's 25 people total. And it said 80% scored at least 50 points or higher, so 100 times 8 is 400.
Is this gonna be on this one?
Okay. Did not take the class. How many people go here? Okay. Funding for the prep course may be cut next year on these results. Do you agree with the decision? Do we agree, yes or no? Do you think it should be cut? Who thinks it should be cut? Who thinks it shouldn't be cut? Okay. If we look at the people who scored higher, 50% scored higher, 50 of them scored higher, 50 of them scored lower or the same. Okay?
Yeah, I guess.
But look at who took the class.
Yeah.
I know this is 20 and 30, but look, it's 20 out of 25 did better. So you could put either way. You just have to say. I would say no. More people scored higher that took the class. Because look at this amount. Look at these 75 that didn't take the class. 30 did better, but 45 did not. Okay. In a survey, juniors and seniors who either drive to school or ride the bus were asked how they got to school. There were 80 juniors and 120 seniors who said they drove to school. Of the 100 students surveyed who said they rode the bus, 70 were juniors. Okay, I'm going to put juniors here on the side. Seniors here. Kids that take the bus here. Drive here. And both of these are going to be my totals. Could I have put bus and drive here and seniors and juniors here?
Yes.
Okay, so there were 80 juniors that drove to school and 120 seniors who drove to school, which gives me a total of how much? Of the 100 students surveyed who said they rode the bus, 70 were juniors. So I know this is 100. I know this is 70, so seniors has to be 30. 70 and 80 makes how much? 30 and 120 makes? So my total for both, what percent of juniors drove to school?
80.
80 over 300, which gives me what percent?
Why over 300? Juniors.
Because it's total. You always put it over the total.
26.
27.
27.
So I put juniors 80 over 300. Oh, you're right. It does say what percent of juniors drove to school. So how many juniors are there?
Oh.
So it has to be 80 over 150.
Oh.
I get 53% as well. Okay, let's look at this again. It says, read what the question says. It says, what percent of juniors, so that means we're looking at the total for juniors only. You good so far? Drove to school. What percent of drivers were juniors? So what can I only look at? Drive. How many drivers were there total? 200. So that goes on the bottom. And how many of them were juniors? 80. So let's go 80 divided by 200 gives me 40%. Okay. What percent of students who took the survey? So the bottom has to be what of my fraction? 300. Were seniors who took the bus. So 30 divided by 300 is 10%. Were there more seniors or juniors surveyed? Neither, they're the same. there more drivers or more bus riders surveyed? What was the most common, highest percentage response?
Junior. I'm still saying.
So 200 over 300?
Right. So it would be drivers over total surveyed.
So you
Oh,
just
skip that.
So are we gonna just use the biggest numbers over the total?
Yeah.
66%. Would be 200 over 30.
200 over 300, which would give me 67%. Okay, so you have the rest of the hour to work on your review, which is just beginning of class tomorrow. I'll check it in and then